This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by Connected Data, the makers of the Transporter and Transporter Sync. Your data in your own private cloud, safe, secure, and cost-effective. Save 10% off any transporter model, up to $35, using the code MV10, or get $20 off the Transporter Sync with the code MV20, both at filetransporterstore.com. This edition is also sponsored by Smile, the makers of PDF Pen, PDF Pen Pro, PDF Pen for iPhone, PDF Pen for iPad, PDF Pen Scan Plus for iPhone and iPad, Text Expander Touch, and Disk Label. Find out more about all their great products at smilesoftware.com. Welcome to Mac Notables on MacVoices. This is a Talk of the Mac community. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, Bob Dr. Mac LeVitus, live from his office in Texas. Bob, it's great to see you.
It's great to be seen.
It was great to see you in San Francisco when I actually got to see you up close and personal.
For a whole, 5 minutes, it seems like I kept passing you, and one of us was always in a conversation. It's like I waved at you a lot.
Yeah, and I waved at you, and I saw you doing your session on the stage, the second stage with the Garageband session.
Oh, you saw that? That was fun.
Yep.
I had such a good time.
Yeah, you look like you were having a good time, and the people look like they were having a good time with it.
It's such a great session because I challenge myself by saying I'm going to record, mix, and master a simple rock and roll tune in 45 minutes. Record, mix, and master multiple vocal and guitar tracks, playing all the instruments myself, which right there is challenge. You know, I don't play instruments. I'm not a drummer. I'm not a bass player. But, you know, to show people that anybody could do it, it's not that hard if you kind of know what the steps are. So I walk them through the steps of recording a song. You get a song you like, you do some drums, some bass, you know, first, so that you've got something to hang everything else onto. Then you put some more stuff on, then you listen to it a few times. Then you record some more stuff, vocals, guitars, tambourines. And pretty soon it sounds like a rock and roll song. So and GarageBand is really such a great entry-level app for people who've never, mixed audio before, never been involved in recording, because it's fun. And they've got all those intelligent instruments that make it so you don't have to play anything. You can let GarageBand compose for you.
Yeah, it also, I think, gives people a little insight into what it means to record a song. And obviously, that's a very simplified version, but it gives them a little education, because a lot of us just have no idea about how a musician goes about doing what you do.
And that's the thing, is to do it in 45 minutes is great. You know, I give everybody a look at all the different parts of the process of recording, mixing, mastering, and shipping. You know, what do you do when you're done? You share it. Yeah. So, to be able to do all that in 45 minutes, I have to say I'm always impressed with myself when I do it, because it's not that easy. You got to be it's tightly scripted. I have 3 pages of notes that tell me exactly what I need to be doing, and I've timed it out so that I can tell if I'm falling behind, and, I can leave something out if I have to. But I think, and I've been giving this session for years. I used to do it at the Apple store in the mall. They would have, on Wednesday nights, they had like a creative expert night. And one Wednesday a month, I would jump on the Genius Bar with my guitar and play Rockaway Beach. It was so much fun. I'm the only person, according to the Apple employees I talked to, that's ever been allowed to jump on the Genius Bar and play a guitar. And it was really fun, but they ended the series, and I just adapted it for Macworld. I've done it there a few times, and Paul says I can do it again next year. I said, that was so much fun. Can I do that again? I love doing that.
That seemed to be a lot of what Macworld was about this year. There was so much fun in the air in so many different areas. Sure, it's about the products and it's about learning stuff, but there was a lot of fun everywhere.
Adam Engst invited us all to his ink-stained wretch dinner on Friday night, and in the invitation he said something that I quoted in my TV thing when my Macworld coverage. I've got this quote from Adam, and he basically said it's a place where we can go and hang out with people like us and communicate in greater than 140 character chunks. And that's the truth, because we all, I'm in touch with everybody. I don't feel like I'm not in touch with people I see at Macworld, because I see them online. I exchange email, text, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is. I feel, kind of in touch. But then you go to Macworld and it's like, this is why I come, so that I can hang out with people in the flesh.
Yeah. And
it's the people that bring me back. That's what it's an editorial, and the upshot is I go not because I get a column out of it every year, and not because there's lots of good products, but because I love going and I love hanging out with the people. And there's 3 reasons: 1, the people; 2, the products; and 3, the Macworld All-Star Band. The best party of the year for me is always Cirque du Mac, and it's not just because I'm in the band and I get to play guitar in front of people. But that party is so fun. I have such a great time every year. I see so many people I know, and everybody every year says, I had such a good time. What a great party. No business being talked, no work being done. Everybody's just grooving with the light show. Andrew Stone lights.
And Bob, I think there's something about the fact that it's you all up there doing your thing. You guys joke a lot that you rehearse once a year, and you're having a good time. You're all accomplished musicians. So,
well, wait. That's actually giving me too much credit. But the rest of them are accomplished musicians.
Well, you're all up there, and you're all doing a great job, and it's just...
I practice a lot to keep up with them, because they are good, and they do it all the time. I mean, Dave's in a band, Chris plays in a band. Those guys, they play a lot more than I do. And so, I work the 2 months before Macworld, I'm obsessed with guitar. And then I don't play for 10 months. And then they give me the new set list, and I start learning new songs again. It's the most fun I have all year. If I was allowed to, I would be in a band in Austin. But my wife says, that's a hobby you can't have. He said, why? Don't you want a bunch of drunk old guys hanging out in the garage making lots of noise? The kids are gone. It didn't fly.
No, it didn't fly. Well, folks that are subscribed to MacVoices know that I already published one unofficial bootleg of the party, and then I was able to get a copy of the soundboard recording. So now I've remixed the audio.
So that was just a stereo recording? It wasn't multi-track, was it?
No, nothing like that. No,
just a stereo out from the board, though, so it's clean.
Yeah, but it's also very dry. So I've mixed it in with some of the audience recording, and I think look, it's club sound. It's a garage.
I heard it. It's better than I get with my iPhone, and with my iPhone, I get pretty good sound in clubs.
Yeah,
I'm always impressed with what I get when I come home from a concert and I look at it. I go, I can't believe that just didn't overdrive and turn into distortion.
Yeah,
because in the old days when we had analog equipment, you went into a club and held up a microphone or something. All you got was noise. I mean, it really does a pretty good job of filtering and letting in mostly the music, even though it's really loud.
Yeah, but the folks will that will either be in the feed right before this show or right after. But you'll see a new version of the bootleg.
You should watch the new version, because we sound almost like a band now.
Nah, I think you sound pretty darn good anyway you take it.
Oh, you're being very kind. We have fun, and we're not bad. We can play. We don't play songs that we'd fail on. It's like you don't hear us playing Stairway to Heaven, Bohemian Rhapsody. No, we play 3-chord rock and roll that we can pull off. We play Rolling Stones and Tom Petty and Beatles, and those songs are in our collective unconscious. It's hardly like I have to learn most of those songs, because I know most of those songs.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's great, though, as an attendee to go and 99.9% songs in the set. There might be one you guys pull out that I'm not deadly familiar with, but you recognize everything, and therefore you're able to enjoy it, and I think that helps.
That is planned. That is, we talk a lot about that. They actually told me I can't have my Bruce Springsteen song anymore because not enough people were dancing and not enough people knew it. And I said, but it was great. It was really fun. People liked it. They were singing. All 6 of them from New Jersey.
Including
Chuck We're going to play stuff that's more popular. We're going to play stuff the audience knows and will dance to. So, Steel Diamond, whatever. I'm happy that they allow me on stage with them once a year. Nobody else gives me that kind of opportunity.
This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by Smile, the makers of PDF Pen, PDF Pen Pro, PDF Pen for iPhone, PDF Pen for iPad, PDF Pen Scan Plus for iPhone and iPad, Text Expander Touch, and Disk Label. Find out more about all their great products at smilesoftware.com. It's time to review the Smile apps that you have on your iOS device, or the Smile apps that you need to get for your iOS device. This time around, let's look at PDF Pen Scan Plus. This is the newest iOS app from Smile, and it distinguishes itself by putting a scanner in your iPhone or iPad. Just point the camera at any document and capture it, either as an image or run the built-in optical character recognition to turn it into editable text. Then, archive it or upload it to your favorite cloud service. Since we last talked, version 1.3 was released and added a number of new and useful features. First, PDF Pen Scan Plus was updated for iOS 7, which is now required. Smile is keeping up and moving forward, taking advantage of all the new behind-the-scenes goodies that the newest version of the iOS provides, and you should too. They've added new paper size selections for receipts and a custom setting so you can pick your own, implemented preview optical character recognition as a page overlay, and improved the scan cropping features. But that's not all. Now you have easy multi-page scans, improved OCR accuracy and text layout, post-process cropping and image adjustments, and a little useful eye candy, including new page rotation animations and page badges to show unprocessed images. Those are just the improvements. To learn more about the entire feature set and what PDF Pen Scan Plus can do for you, visit smilesoftware.com or check it out in the iOS App Store and pick it up for $6.99. Smile, the makers of world-class software. Find them at smilesoftware.com, and thanks to Smile for being the longest-running sponsor of MacVoices. Well, you're going to have another opportunity, or I'm going to have another opportunity, I should say, to see you. In a very short time, as we record this, you're going to be embarking on your annual Mid-Atlantic Mug Tour, coming to the Mainline Mac User Group in Philadelphia, Princeton Mac User Group in Princeton, New Jersey, and, of course, the Hershey Apple Core in my neck of the woods, Hershey, Pennsylvania.
And do you have those dates? Because if you don't, I do.
I believe the dates, I think you do Mainline on the 12th?
10th?
On the 10th.
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong month, sorry. Yes.
They're Saturday. Then I believe Princeton's Tuesday night.
Right.
The 13th.
Right.
And you're the 14th.
That's correct. And I think you're doing...
I'm doing something else on Saturday afternoon at some new store because Mac Outfitters is no longer there.
Right.
I used to go to Mac Outfitters and they'd have a weenie roast for me, which I thought was really appropriate.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, and I've got a story posted over on the Mug Center that if folks want to get the specific dates and the links to the user groups, and I think everybody's pretty open to having guests, but definitely...
Yes, I was going to say, here's the deal. Whether they like it or not, show up if you want to, and say, I told you it was free. Because how are they going to get new members if they don't get people to come to the meetings and have a good time? And I throw a good meeting, you know?
You do.
Not every presenter at every user group meeting is fun to watch, but I make a point of putting together a fun show.
And I will endorse that.
I'm edutainment. That's my new word with a TM. Edutainment.
The only trouble with your meetings, Bob, is that they always cost us money because you bring such cool stuff to show, and then it's like, okay, I got to have that.
I always tell people that's the problem with having me. I'm expensive, and I charge nothing, but I'm still expensive.
Yep, exactly.
I love doing user group meetings, and I do as many as I can every year, but there aren't that many user groups left. And the ones that can't afford to send me a plane ticket that are far away, I do by video conference. Right. I've done a bunch of video sessions with user groups where I can't get to Oklahoma the night of their meeting. I just do it from here.
Well, you do this tour. You do Chicago, I think, once a year in person.
Austin and Houston.
You obviously do those because those are a little more.
And Dallas.
A little closer.
Yeah, those I could drive to if I had to, but they usually send me a plane ticket. It's pretty cheap. It's like $100 to fly up and back, a couple hundred, under two. And the groups, that's the thing is I don't charge anything for the show. I mean, I don't get any money. All I want is not to lose money.
Right.
Got to make it so I don't lose money, and I will go anywhere in the world if I don't lose money to talk to a group of Mac or Apple enthusiasts.
Oh, be careful what you say there.
I've said that, and boy, Peggy Kilburn sent me to China. She sent me to Hong Kong, Tokyo. I said, I'll go, and she said, I'm taking you up on it. And they'd pay the expenses, but not that many people would go for, a week to China for free.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I was always happy. You know, I was always happy to go talk to Mac users, even when they didn't speak my language.
Well, Bob, in a general sense, I don't want you to give away any of the products or anything, but in a general sense, what kind of things are you going to be talking about this year?
I don't know. You know, here's the thing. I haven't written the presentation yet. I've got a bunch of stuff from, I did the Austin and Houston user groups earlier this year in Dallas. So I have the bare bones of a presentation. I'm going to go through and keep the stuff that's still worth recommending. I've got a couple new things to throw in. So I've got a bunch of products as usual. It's kind of, I think this year I'm going to do a kind of a what's hot and what's not, or stuff I love and a couple of things I hate. Because usually I don't write about stuff I hate, mostly because I don't like putting their name in print and giving them publicity. If they're that bad, they should just go rot and die, and I don't want to help. But you know, they say any publicity is good publicity, and the truth is, if somebody makes a crummy product that you've never heard of, and I write about it, now you've heard of it, you might even think later, oh, I heard of that, I'll get one. So I try not to write very many bad reviews unless something is heinous, because I get 52 columns a year, and there's 52 new products a year that are good and worth writing about. You know, it's like I often get stacked up with stuff that I want to write a column about, and you know, if I wrote everything that is in the pile, I'd have to write every day, because I get so much cool stuff. Anyway, I'll have lots of that to show off, and this is the year, I'm going to tell you, you're the first to know, this is the year that I'm going to be previewing the BobLeVitus.tv show. I've got several segments ready. I've just got to decide how I'm going to present them. But part of this year, well, here's the thing. The segments are like things I would talk about in the user group meeting. So I'm not going to do those things. I'm going to play the video. So you'll get a 5-minute video of me talking about my favorite game on the iPad with demo and, you know, video, which I couldn't do live. There's no way I could, you know, take an iPad and show all the things I want to show in 5 minutes on this game, this particular game. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. You'll have to wait. But the point is, I've got a bunch of these segments that are things that I would probably talk about on my user group tour, and I'm going to try to integrate that in this year so that these 3 user group audiences will be the first 3 groups in the world to see any of the actual footage that will go into my show.
Great.
Which is coming out this summer. It's almost... if I didn't have to come to the user group meeting, I would say it'll be out by June 1st. But I'm going to lose a week, so I don't know. I'm going to try to get it out before I leave for the MacMania 17 in England.
Oh, I didn't know you were doing a MacMania.
June 10th. Yes. Wow. Yes. I don't know. I thought I did something to offend someone, because they invited me on like the first 4 or 5, and then I stopped getting invited, and I thought, who did I snub? But I think what happened was Macworld became the sponsor, and I noticed that the majority of the speakers were Macworld speakers for a long time. And I think what's happened now is they've all gone all these places, and it's not that much fun. It's work. I mean, and yet they don't pay your whole way. They give you an allotment or an allowance, you know? So it costs you to go do this, even though it's work. Maybe the Macworld guys get Macworld to pay for them, but other speakers. So anyway, they had all Macworld editors for a really long time. And they still have a good number of them, but it's not exclusively. So I think Sal's on this one, Don McAllister, and they're not Macworld. And neither am I. Or maybe Macworld isn't the sponsor anymore, but I think they are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. They invited me, and I'm tickled. It's my 30th anniversary. My wife and I are going. We're going to go in early and spend a couple days in London. We're going to spend a couple days afterwards in Amsterdam. Make it a second honeymoon kind of thing. I have to work a total of 6 hours over 10 days. In 90-minute chunks nonetheless, which is, to me, short, you know. I always ask you guys for 2 hours when I do user group meeting, because that's how long my session, you know, what I write. I plan for 90 minutes, and it always takes 2 hours, and then people have questions and stuff, so 2 hours. I told Austin next year I want 3 hours. Because last year I was only like 3/4 of the way through, and they're going, okay, it's 9 o'clock. They're going to kick us out of the room now. You know, no, wait.
Just one more
things.
Yeah.
3 more things.
So, Bob, I don't know enough about the MacMania cruises to know. Can you still sign up for that?
Yes,
You think?
yes.
Okay.
Let me get you the website. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how many cabins are left, and I don't know that you're going to get the same kind of. Maybe if there's cabins left, you might get a better deal. But when we were looking at it, they were telling us that they were pretty full, and there were a couple of cabin classes that were already sold out. So that being said, I do have a link to it. Let's see.
And of course, as always, I'll put it in the show notes so that folks
Yes.
can go. So if you can't make Bob's Mid-Atlantic Mug Tour and you feel like doing a cruise, you get 6 sessions with Bob.
MacMania, insightcruises.com.
Okay.
And go to the MacMania page. This one's number 17. I'll send you, since I can send you this stuff, I'll send you the direct link to this one.
Okay, thank you.
But it's if you're just listening and not looking at show notes, it's insightcruises.com.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about those cruises. They sound like just a lot of fun. And the best part is it's not just like you go and then hole up in your room and nobody ever sees you. People get to interact with you. You become part of the cruise, and people get to hang out with you too.
It's totally fun. It's like you become a gang, because everybody gets off the ship to go to ports. You stop almost every day to go to a different city. And while everybody does something different, it's like there's 200 Apple people on that ship, and they tend to, hang out together, talk and shop. So you see this, big gang of people with phones and iPads walking around the ship. That's us. And we stay up late at night, and we hang out in the bar, and we have an informal Q&A session, I think at 11 o'clock in the bar, p.m., or midnight maybe. If you're a night owl, at least a few of us will be up closing the bars. And the people that are on this are, not besides me, I'm going to be talking about the iPhone, the iPad, and Mac troubleshooting and maintenance. And Derek Story's on it. He's one of my favorite photography writers. He's just so knowledgeable. I love being around him because I'm always about to buy something in the camera realm, and I want him to tell me, don't get that. What you want is this. Because he's the guy that knows. So like, you talk about recording equipment to me, yeah, I'll give you advice. But cameras, I'm always, him and Wally, they're my gurus. And who else is on it? Bebo White. I thought Sal Segoyan was on it, but I guess not. Derek Story, Bebo White, Don McAllister, Chris Markhart. I wonder who that is. Anyway, I'll find out when I'm on the cruise. There's it looks like there's a kind of a slant on photography. There's at least 3-4 sessions on photography. iPhone, iPad, Mac, big data, Bitcoin. I want to go to Don McAllister's session called 10 Alfred Workflows That Will Change Your Life. Because I like Alfred, but I don't use it enough.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see how somebody's using it aggressively. It's just kind of there for me, and I forget about it, and I don't use it because I've got LaunchBar to do the simple stuff. But Alfred is, I think, a much deeper kind of system, whereas LaunchBar is kind of a 5-trick pony.
Yeah, and Don has a way of digging into things and making them practical instead of just, well, you can do this, you can do that.
Right. No, he'll have the things that will make me say, I'm going to use Alfred, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what those things are, but I'll find out. So the cruise prices vary from $1,899 to about $7,000 for the Royal Suite. We average about, I guess, $3,000, $2,500. And the ship looks beautiful. I've not been on this is the Celebrity something. And I've not been on Celebrity cruise line, so I don't know what it's going to be like. But I've been on other MacMania cruises with Norwegian and a couple others, and they've always been nice. I've never been on a bad cruise ship.
Where does this cruise go, Bob, and how many days?
British Isles, it's 10 days, and it goes to England, Scotland, Wales, Liverpool, yay. A couple other places. It doesn't have the ports of call on here, but British Isles. Here we go, itinerary. Harwich, Paris, Normandy, St. Peter's Port, Channel Islands, Cork, Waterford, Dublin, Liverpool, Glasgow, Holyhead, Wales, and then back to England.
That's great, and that's a
starts on the 13th.
That's a pretty good price for 10 days.
Yeah, well, but then the MacMania part's another $1,000.
Well, but
That's
still.
the cruise, and then if you want to, take part in the conference, now you can bring a spouse that doesn't have to take the conferences, and there's plenty to do on the ship while you're attending sessions. So, I always bring my wife, and she never goes to the sessions, but she finds stuff to do, so we don't have to pay for her to attend.
Yeah, and these aren't just a cruise that is just for geeks. I mean, there are plenty of other people.
They only take up a small percentage. Those cruises are, I don't know how many this ship has, but typically these kind of ships have 2,500 or 3,000 staterooms. So, or 2,500 or 3,000 passengers. So, we're 200 or 300 of 3,000.
Right.
So we take up, we're the biggest gang on the ship. I don't think there's a bigger group usually than us. Although we were on one with a Star Trek group, which was pretty funny. The Mac geeks and the Star Trek geeks on the same cruise.
I would imagine they would try to do some kind of overriding continuity there to have at least some similarity, but maybe not.
I don't know, because I think the other thing was somebody else's company. I don't think it was the Geek Cruises people doing Star Trek, but it might have been. They had a couple of the Star Trek guys there. I fixed one of them had a hard disk issue, and I swapped out his hard disk on the table in the library on the ship. We did surgery on it. It's a long time ago. It was a power book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That has been.
Yeah.
Connected Data and their transporter products are back as a sponsor of MacVoices, and I couldn't be happier. That's because I love the idea of having more and more of my data in the cloud, but as breaches, cracks, and hacks take up regular residence in each week's headlines, I find myself less and less comfortable with those clouds. Transporter solves that by giving you your own private cloud that only you have access to, unless you want to give someone else access to it. And that automatically makes it less of a target than any of those big cloud storage services. So what do you want to do with your transporter and your private cloud? Automatically upload your photos and videos from your iPhone and iPad? You've got it. The File Transporter app, free in the iOS store, now has that capability built in. A quick trip to the app's settings and you'll never have to worry about losing another video or photo because they will be safe on your transporter. Delete them and shoot more. Do you want more cloud storage with all its benefits of syncing, sharing, and the promise of my personal holy grail, everything, everywhere, all the time, but don't want to pay the high price of the other services? Then Transporter's for you. Starting at $199 for 500 gigs of storage, and yes, I did say gigs, up to $349 for 2 terabytes of storage, and yes, I did say terabytes, Transporter is multiples cheaper than those online services. And with them, you have to renew every year. With Transporter, buy once and your cloud is yours, and no one's going to take it away from you. And to make the deal even sweeter, get 10% off those prices, up to $35, using the code MV10. Or if you already have a hard drive laying around and want the Transporter's function, pick up the Transporter Sync for only $99. But that's only if you're not paying attention, because by using the code MV20, you can save $20 on that retail price. Those deals are good only at filetransporterstore.com, and they won't be around forever, so don't put it off. Get more bang for your cloud storage buck and improve your security and privacy in the process. Find out more at filetransporter.com/MV, and don't forget those discount codes, MV10 and MV20. Connected Data, the makers of the Transporter and Transporter Sync. Your data in your own private cloud, safe, secure, and cost-effective. Welcome back to Connected Data, and thanks for your support of MacVoices. Hey, I want to shift back to the TV show.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm curious, what are your aspirations? I know this has been in the works for a while. You've been playing with it.
It took so much longer than I ever dreamed it would take to do 25 minutes of video. I mean, I thought a year ago it would be done by Christmas. And now, I'm looking at June or July, so a year plus. My goal is to do a demo of what a TV show would look like if I were the star and writer. But then I went ahead and produced it and became my company's called Involuntary Auteur Productions. I do everything, and I committed to doing it all without spending any more money. Without spending additional money, without going out and buying stuff specifically to shoot TV. So I'm shooting with my iPhones and iPods and any camera that I'm shooting with all the cameras I've got that'll shoot HD video. I'm recording audio in Garageband with a lapel mic that costs $30. I got a set of lights I bought a few years ago that, they're not very good, but they light up the office enough to shoot video. I don't have a set. There's no money invested. But I'm working really hard to make it look as slick and TV-like as it can and, have the pacing of a TV show. And what I'm hoping for is one of two things will happen. I'll put it out there for people to look at, and either people will like it so much that I'll do more and be able to get money from advertising or sponsorship or something, or my real dream would be for a cable channel to pick it up as reality programming and pay me to do 13 or 22 shows. Because if I had some money, and not a lot of money compared to most of what you're seeing on reality TV these days, I could shoot a show for half of what they cost. And it would be slick and beautiful. I could have all good people, and I don't need a big staff, and I don't have a big location budget because I don't shoot on location. My interviews are done on Skype, and there's just really low overhead, but high production values. If I had 3 really good graphics people working behind the scenes to make the stuff look good, and a good editor, and a couple of writers that could write these pieces so that I'd have stuff every week. I just can't. The problem is I could write enough, but I can't also shoot and star in and edit and do the sound mixing and everything else and get it out, anywhere near weekly. I'm not even saying I'm going to do another episode, but I probably will because I'm having fun and I'm getting better and more efficient at doing what I'm doing. So maybe it'll stay, a low budget production on YouTube only. But I'm going to, at the end, the last thing will be an appeal to people to either send me money or send letters to the cable companies, to the cable channels. Either tip me or get on their cases and get them to pay me some real money.
I don't know, Bob. You're up against some pretty hefty competition like, Duck Dynasty and Honey Boo Boo. It's like,
oh, boy. I think you understand why I want to do this. It's even worse than that. It's like, I love all this reality programming. We watch House Hunters International, Pawn Stars, we watch American Pickers. I like that stuff, but enough is enough. It's like there's just enough and food shows. I love food shows. But there's so many of all of those things and there's no technology. And what I'm setting out to do is show that technology doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun and entertaining, like my user group presentations, fast-paced. And because it's such a visual medium, and because so much of what I talk about now happens on a screen that I can record, I can show it to you. When I write about this stuff, I have that disconnect between being able to give you the visuals. I can give you some screenshots and stuff, but that's not for a beautiful 3D game. That's not good, that doesn't give you what it's like. But you watch 5 seconds of Riven or Myst and you get it, you know what that game is like. You get the feel of it, but seeing 5 pictures isn't going to do that for you.
Well, hey, if anybody knows anybody at a cable company that's willing to take on a new project.
That's right. I'm paying a bounty. If you get me the deal, you will be my head writer or something. Whoever gets me a deal, we'll make a deal.
Bob, this isn't your first venture into this. You did a TV show way back, didn't you?
I did. I've done a TV show and I've done a syndicated radio show. The problem with the TV show was when I was doing it, we couldn't really do desktop video. It was not feasible. Today, it's absolutely doable with really reasonably priced equipment to produce broadcast quality video. We couldn't do that, so we had to shoot in a studio with 3 big $150,000 cameras, 3 camera operators, 3 tape machines, and it was very expensive. And the problem was as a syndicated provider, we had to pay our own satellite uplink fee to feed it to the affiliates, and we had over 100, but it was costing us a few $1,000 a week to beam them the show, and we weren't selling that many ads. And there's not that many advertisers that are going to buy, at that time, on a Mac-oriented TV show. It's like there just weren't TV advertisers. Microsoft and Apple were the only ones that had TV ads at the time, and they weren't advertising with us. So we finally offered to do the ads for people, and we got Mac Connection and a bunch of other people to become sponsors, but we had to produce their ads every week. Again, you know, not getting paid for the production. So we could never make money. We did 13 shows, and we could not. We could have done another season. We could have cleared the stations and kept going, but we were completely broke. I mean, we lost. I didn't lose that much because I was the talent and I got paid before. But my partner, who was, you know, footing the bill for the satellite stuff and studio time, he couldn't make it work out, and we loved doing it. We would have loved to have continued for another year or for 10 years. But at that time, and that was 1995, 4, might have been 92. It was a long time. No, it was even, I think maybe 91 or 92. It just wasn't doable without spending a lot more money, without being sponsored, without being like owned by History Channel or something. Now, if History Channel had picked us up, we were syndicated on UHF channels. So I was on like channel 33 in Austin at 1 in the morning. So my combined audience for 100,000, I mean, for 100 plus stations was probably, 62 people. But we liked doing it, and I always had the idea that someday it would get cheap enough that I could do it all at home. And when that happened, I was going to try again, and that's what this is. It's like I've always had the idea that I could do a fun TV show that everybody I know would like watching. And my wife says, is that enough people, everyone you know? And I said, well, these days, there's a lot of people that are like everyone I know. It's like there's a lot of people who are obsessed with their iPhone, their iPad, their Macintosh. It's not like the old days. In the old days, we were a little teeny fragment of a sliver on the pimple on the butt of a giant thing. And today, we're the giant thing, The Apple side right now is the juggernaut. So I do think there's enough people that would watch this. And the other thing is, you don't need a lot of people. Because look at those shows we're talking about. They do great with little teeny houses and HUT levels. They're like, 0.4% for some of these shows is enough to be renewed for 5 seasons, 0.1% is almost okay. That's tiny, but big, because you're talking about 1/10 of 150, 200 million households.
Sure.
1/10 of 1%, I don't do math, but it's a lot. Yeah. So the numbers add up now, and I just think, I think I can make this fly because there's a combination of things, but I don't think there's very many people like me that could, put together all the elements and understand what it's going to take to put a show on the air like this. And I thought the only way to prove it is to just go and do a demo show. So I'll have a 25-minute demo available by, I'm not going to say, but soon, by summer. Yeah. I said coming this summer in the trailer, so by golly, it's shipping by whatever day summer ends.
I know we say it so often, but it bears a discussion because you just gave a great example of what it took to put that TV show together then versus what you can do now. I mean, you could buy, if you were going to invest some money, you could buy 3 GoPro cameras, a lav mic. That's
what I'm saying. I could build a purpose-built studio / room that I could shoot network quality TV in for so much less. When I used to do this for a living, before I had my own TV show, I was in advertising and I made TV commercials. So I've been editing video like my whole life. And when I used to do it, it was $300 an hour to go into the rooms that we had to use, all right, for 1-inch video editing, and $60 or $80 an hour for the first technician and $40 for the second one. And so you're looking at $400-500 an hour, and then there's the tape. You got to buy rolls of tape, and they're a few $100. I figured it cost me usually around $400-500 an hour to be making video. And that clock ticks whether you work or not, whether you're accomplishing anything or not, and whether you like it or not. So I'd get to the end of our allotted 3-hour edit on a 30-second TV commercial, and at the end of the 3 hours, I'd look at what we had, and I'd go, I need another 3 hours to really make it right. You know, it's like there's some sloppy cuts there, and there's a transition that needs to be redone, and the audio is a little soft at the end, and we really need to tweak a few more things to make it good. And they're like, well, I don't think the client will sign for another $1,000 for this commercial. And sometimes we had to make really, ugly compromises. And I hated that. I really hated the pressure. It was the same thing with recording music. It was the same deal. I couldn't record music well without spending $200 or $300 an hour. I could do some stuff. I mean, even as much as 25, 30 years ago, I had a little TIAC Porta Studio, and I could do little 4-track recordings, but they were very crude and very low quality. And that's the difference, that today we have cheap gear like GoPro cameras and all kinds. My Canon DSLR shoots beautiful HD video. If I can keep its focus locked, it'd be awesome. But it wants to, I have problems with it, and it overheats because it's an older camera. It overheats if I shoot more than 10 minutes of video. So it's out of the rotation. My iPhones don't. They don't overheat. They'll shoot 30 minutes. I love that. And that's what I'm using. I have iPhones. I have an old flip video. I'm doing everything in 720 rather than 1080 because the truth is, there's nothing that, it's not a motion picture. It's not Blu-ray. This isn't supposed to be so dazzling and saturated it'll blow your eyeballs off. It's TV. And most people are going to watch it on a smaller screen. They're going to watch it on their iPhone, their iPad. Maybe some of them will watch it on TV, and 720 looks pretty good on TV. So rather than take on the overhead of 1080, which is about 4 times maybe 3 times the file size, at least double. And I've already chewed up. Well, let's put it this way. I'm using 4 terabyte drives like tissue. I just keep buying 4 terabyte drives and backing stuff up to them. And they fill up really fast. I can't believe how fast. I said the other day, I had lunch with Larry O'Connor from Other World Computing. And I said, do you have a 200 terabyte RAID? No, I think the biggest one we've got is 40, with 10 disks in it or something. And I'm going, what am I going to do if I have to, shoot a real TV show in 1080 with 3 cameras and a handheld camera? I'm going to have to buy a storage company.
Well, you're not going to be able to archive stuff. That's the thing. When you're archiving the raw video, that's where it gets. You
can't throw it away though until after. It's like I can once I finish this. There's lots of stuff I could go through and put on a disk and put away and probably never need again and get it off disks I use. But even so, just the time it takes to go through it all. I'd rather just keep it all. Who knows? Someday some of that footage may come in handy. Some of the stuff I shot at Macworld may be of a company that goes orbital. And I have a picture of their 10x10 booth at Macworld and an interview with the president. I don't know. I don't know what's good. That's the reason I can't throw pictures or video away. And that's the reason I'm buying these 4 terabyte drives like tissue. I love the Voyager drive docks, though. That's what I use for storage, and that way I can buy the cheapest drives because I don't really care. They don't have to be fast for this. Cheap is better, and I don't care. What brand they are. Whatever's on sale is what I buy. And I'm like Google. I just assume they're all going to break and everything is redundantly backed up. Every one of those because that's a truism. Every hard disk is going to fail. It's just the date that it happens that's going to be different. So I figure expensive disks, what do they call them? Enterprise level, enterprise quality. Yeah, right. I've had those fail the first year too. Not as many, but just the same. It doesn't pay to me. I buy whatever's on sale because they're backup disks. And then when they fail, I throw them away unless they're under warranty, and buy a new one. Because at $150 for a 4 terabyte drive, it's almost not worth the time to try to mine stuff off of it and rearrange my files. Easier to just put the whole project on a 4 terabyte drive, put the 4 terabyte drive in storage, and once a year take it out and check it.
And think about what you just said, $150 for 4 terabyte drives.
I know. I paid $2,495 for my first hard disk, a 20 megabyte SCSI drive. And it was the same price as my Mac, $24.95, which was also the same price, coincidentally, of the 1 to 4 megabyte RAM upgrade from Mac Memory, $24.95. So I bought a Mac Plus for $24.95. I got a hard disk for it for $24.95 more, and then I upgraded the RAM from 1 to 4 megabytes, and that cost another $24.95. I had a $7,500 Mac Plus with a 9-inch monochrome screen. You tell me I'm not serious about this stuff. I had to sell one of my children for that.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, we're going to find out just how serious you are when we see the premiere here at Mainline.
You're going to see it at all 3 of these user group meetings. I will be showing some footage from the show. Maybe, I don't know how much, but whatever is good enough to show. And I think that's probably at least 2 or 3 of the segments are done enough that I don't mind letting them out. I think they just need a little fine-tuning. It's amazing how much you see every time you watch something you've watched 1,000 times. It's like my process is I'll work in Final Cut until I'm tired and until I get to the end of something. And then I'll burn it out to iTunes, go in the other room and watch it on the big screen TV and see what it looks like. And I'll take notes, and then I'll come back and fix the things that I saw. And while I'm doing that, I find 10 more things to fix. It's like I say, I'll be done with this in an hour. And 2 days later, I'm still fine-tuning. And it's still not good, It's as good as I can do, but real editors would, eat this stuff up. They know instinctively how to correct these little problems like jump cuts that I look at, and I go, how am I going to creatively fix that? I'm sick of doing that dissolve thing, and it always looks crappy anyway. So I found a transition that kind of masks jump cuts. We got a little spin flip thing that used judiciously works for those. But, I know I'm not very good at designing video. I'm not a creative director. I'm not an artist. I need good graphics guys to do this. I'm not the one that should be doing the on-screen graphics. I'm not the one that should be picking the what do they call it, B-roll, the stuff that, rolls while I talk. Somebody else should be doing that and editing it and making it good. Because for me, it's like, gee, this should be like fast cuts, but I'm too lazy to do 12 cuts here. I'm just going to put 2 pieces in and call it a night. And I can tell, if I had good video people, it would be 10 times better. But I can't wait any longer. I got to put it out there or I'm never going to finish. I'm a perfectionist mostly. And, I keep looking at it and going, I'm not ready to let anybody see it yet. Nobody's seen it. My wife and, people have seen the trailer, but I've probably only shown it to 5 people in a year. Because I just don't feel like it's very good yet, but 3 of the segments are good. The open and close of the show is good. We're getting there. I only need to finish a couple more things and I can make a demo episode and be done with it. Finally.
But Bob, the same old thing. You got to ship, at some point because
that's right. You got to ship. And you know what? If you wait too long, somebody else will ship, and then you'll have a perfect product in a category that someone else already dominates. Right. And that's the other thing. But yeah, you're right. I'm calling this a demo, and I'm going to call it Beta 1, because I need to just get something out there and get some feedback on it and see if it resonates with people and what they like and don't like, and if there's anything that catches on that I should be doing more of, and anything that people are going, ew, that was bad. Don't do that. Because I've got funny stuff in there. Like there's a title card somewhere that says, I wonder if they know I'm not wearing pants. Because I record this stuff in shorts, I'm sitting at my desk in shorts, but you're only seeing me from here up. And I never stand up, so you never know. So I wonder if they know I'm not wearing any pants.
Yeah, the
little
classic
cartoon, little thought bubble comes up.
classic TV anchor thing that you hear about so often, that they come in Bermuda shorts, but they got the shirt and tie and everything.
Tie. Yeah, well, that's me. Look at me. You can see me. Yeah.
No. Oh, okay.
So today I'm wearing real shorts.
I was sweating that for a second there, Bob. Well, you got to get back to doing the TV show and also writing your presentation so you have something to talk to the user groups about.
It's here. I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'll have it done by Friday.
All right.
I'm used to this, the user group thing, the pressure of writing the presentation, because I always like to do a fresh presentation for each group. You guys get the same presentation for 3 groups, but generally I don't like to repeat myself, and I like to rotate stuff in and out. I always find something new that I like, and there's always something in the presentation that I don't like as much as I used to. So, I'll have a solid 2 hours for you by the time I get to Hershey.
No doubt in my mind. Well, again, I will have a link to the article over at the Mug Center that has your schedule to make sure folks know where it is. And, of course, to BobLeVitus.com, which is where they can find out about you. And
BobLeVitus.tv, where they can see the trailer for the TV show. Okay. I did put a trailer out.
Okay, I didn't know it was up. Okay.
There's like a minute of video that's out there in the wild already.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And I will see you next week in Hershey, and the folks in Jersey and Philly will see you.
Check with the people that know, because I don't know when I'm coming, but I'll be there.
Great. Bob, it's a pleasure. I look forward
Always
to it.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Chuck.
All right, we'll do it again soon. Folks, this is Mac Notables on Mac Voices. I'm Chuck Joyner. We can't wait to see Bob LeVitus. If you are in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Central Pennsylvania area, come on out. We'd love to have you. Until the next time, thanks for watching.
Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, app.net, Google+, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the Mac Voices Dispatch, to stay up to date with all the latest Mac Voices news from our front page or at MacVoices.com/newsletter. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at BackbeatMedia.com.